Welcome back to the Joel Insurance Podcast here, where we speak about insurance, AI, compliance, and recruitment. Today, we're going to be tackling a topic that doesn't always get the attention it deserves, but has huge implications for recruiters and businesses: the consequences of neglecting insurance validation. To help break this down, I'm joined by Duncan Stuart, a marketplace founder and entrepreneur with years of experience in the recruitment space. Duncan has firsthand seen risk and challenges firm faces when insurance isn't properly validated. Duncan, great to have you back on the Job Insurance Podcast.
Hey, Michael, how you doing?
Good, very good, very good. Before we get into the risk of skipping insurance validation, let's start with you. How did you get into the industry and what has your journey been like?
My journey was technology, always been in tech. And then I was working for a consultancy for many years, and then it was sold. And then I started my first business, which is a marketplace called Have a Do. Insurance is one of those places or sort of subjects that's pretty dry and something you have to have, but it's something that we also try and avoid.
Well, with all your experience, you must have seen some horror stories when it comes to compliance and insurance validation. Let's talk about that.
Personal horror stories for sure. I've seen a lot of mistakes happen, and you, as business owners, you don't really see this stuff. But my one that happened to me personally was the biggest impact on me was when I was building an extension to the house, and then when I thought I was checking the builder's insurance, and he showed me it. I just looked at it blankly, probably at the time, and there was probably a few things that looked right, and then he kind of messed up and went AWOL, and then obviously that's when you start trying to break it all down and trying to get something compensation and etc. And that's when I found out that the insurance was was never been renewed. It was like 6 or 7 months had been cancelled. So it hurt us badly. We're stuck with a shell. He also did the neighbours as well, did them in, and then he went bust anyway, bankrupt 3 months later. So if we've only known to be a bit more sort of careful at the start, but everyone does that, so we've seen that a lot.
For those who might not really understand, why is insurance validation such a crucial step in recruitment today?
So the big issue here is obviously you're employing or you're engaging with limited companies, right, who are providing professional services. So if you're a contractor or a supplier, whatever you are a business, and you need to have insurance, right? So you need to have the right type of insurance to cover any professional issues or mistakes you make. I mean, it's quite a big variety of things that professional indemnity covers, but you have to have this because your business is liable, right? Not you personally, but for any mistakes you make. So we or people who have recruitment companies, especially owners of recruitment, know how important this is to make sure that whoever they are deploying or employing to work on projects, contracts, need to have the right coverage, right? And it's, as I said before, they're doing the same thing as I did. You just cut a piece of paper and you think it's okay, or a certificate and stuff like that. So we've just seen massive outage last year from the antivirus software. It wiped out thousands of Microsoft servers and stuff like that. So imagine the knock-on that had with all the individual little companies that were providing services, because no one knows. They'll think it's just the suppliers that are at fault here. So it's important.
Very, very important. And even though the risks are huge, a lot of firms still don't take insurance validation seriously. Why do you think this happens?
Oh, it's just slows things down, right? So when you talk to somebody, you talk with hundreds of contractors and suppliers. Smaller companies, yeah, it's okay, and you're looking at paperwork. First of all, you're engaging with the supplier or service provider or whatever contractor, and then you sort of backwards and forwards with emails and things like that, and you're busy trying to get them on board so they can start billing, and then you've got to check the insurance documents, you've got to check that the right to work and all that stuff, and so you get all sort of mixed up in that process. And in the insurance document, you always assume that's okay. So it's a problem because people do get stung, and they are right now as we speak. Things are happening, so it's overlooked because it's tedious.
Yeah.
And that's what we're changing.
Well, where there's a problem, there should always be a solution, and that's where Joel Insurance comes in, right? Let's talk about how we can help solve this problem. So manual validation is obviously time consuming, as you said. It's very slow. Firms have built a fully automated validation tool that removes the manual heavy lifting. Duncan, from your perspective, how does automation change the game for recruiters?
Hugely. For any type of checking, really, the machine will do it a lot better and then less errors, right? So you can save hundreds of hours where you can spend that time on something a lot more important, and or that's going to win you more business, or you're going to get someone billing quicker. So I think it's a great time now because of AI, and anyone can build an insurance validation tool. It's just that difference is that we actually are an insurance company, so we know what we're looking for. We know what we can check. We also provide insurance where there's a gap, right? So no point saying, "Oh, check your insurance, it's not valid." Then you've got to go through the whole process. Whereas we can speed up the check-in and then also get them to buy if they don't have it pretty quickly, all in one hit, and then billing. So that's the idea. So if you look at all the costs associated with not getting someone billing, it's quite big until your return on investment happens a lot later, the longer, because it's taking you that longer to get them on site or get them working on a project. So yeah, it's no brainer. No brainer, because what we're doing, we are an insurance company, as I said, and we will check that. And then we're also growing that. So insurance has clauses, loads of little exclusions, inclusions, what countries you're allowed in, and blah, blah, blah. And we're doing all that kind of check-in. It's getting stronger and stronger, our checks. So I think it's a no-brainer for insurance, for recruiters. You got to just automate that process. It's no-brainer.
Exactly. With Joel, recruiters can focus on what they do best, placing top talents, while our system verifies, tracks, and ensures every contract has the right insurance for them. So effectively making compliance simple, fast, and reliable. Duncan, before we wrap up, if you had one key message for our recruiters right now, what would that be?
Around the insurance space, definitely understand your risk profile. So I think what we forget here is that when you start your checks, that's all good. But then what about happens during the process of the actual contract? No one's checking, because day two, they start on site and they forget to renew, it expires, or they cancel because they've seen something cheap. And all that stuff happens and no one knows because they just checked on day one, right? And we're joining on board. So I would recommend that you automate that process and keep a clear heat map, I'll call it, throughout the duration of the contract, so you and all your engagement with that person, so you always know what your risk is, and then take that to your clients and say, "Look, this is what we do. We know that where the risk is. It's down this path, or this path. We're working on it." And I think that makes the client much more sort of happy, peace of mind, and more business probably as well.
Exactly. If you're a recruiter, don't wait for compliance nightmare to happen. Book a demo with Joel Insurance today and see how we're going to help you protect your business while saving you time and money. Thank you for tuning in. And Duncan, a huge thank you for sharing your insights today.
Cheers. Thanks, Michael. See ya.
Until next time, stay compliant and stay ahead. Thank you and goodbye.